Before we go, because my boy's got a hard stop at 150 today, and I got to give him at least 10 minutes to get his stuff. So I'm actually going to give him 13 minutes to get his picks in. So you already know what time it is. We spent the whole fucking month waiting on these, man. It's time to get some motherfucking money. My boy MMA Pickers is going to give y'all his picks of the week. Me and Mac Tyson are going to drop out, give him the full screen, and let him do his motherfucking thing, baby. There you
I feel
go,
like
baby.
a starving man who just reached the end of the desert and got to a big, beautiful lake.
All right, hold on. Let me get the screen up for you. Let's get you
All
here,
right.
here. No, here. Why did? Oh, now I know how to do this. Okay.
Okay. I'll just run through these one by one, and then I'll chuck out a couple parlays for you guys. A couple of short ones. 2025 is going to be the year of slightly more conservative picks, higher winning percentage, but we're going to make some money. 2025 is going to be a prosperous year, so let's start off strong. We're looking at Aliyah versus Selecki. Selecki's a longtime jiu-jitsu fighter, coming off a couple tough losses, including a slam knockout to Jakar Close. Only 12 of those in UFC history, fun fact. Aliyev is a massive favorite, as he should be. He's going to have a big wrestling advantage. He should have the grappling acumen to be able to avoid Joe Selecki's offense off of his back. Because, like I said, he is a seasoned jiu-jitsu practitioner. Aliyev should also have an advantage in the striking department as well as in the conditioning department. He's a huge favorite. He's like a minus 800. There's not a lot of meat on the bone here. I would say probably the best bet is that Aliyev is just going to snuggle struggle my boy over here, and we'll go with the over 2.5 at minus 345. But there's just really not a lot of meat on the bone for this fight, so we can move on to the next one. Paulo, you want to scroll? Yeah, there we go. Give me Klein versus Dudikova. There we go. Same thing with this fight. Extremely likely that Fatima Klein is going to win a convincing decision. Odds aren't really worth touching. She's a minus 800 by decision. It's very close to that. Over 2.5 is about the same odds as the fight before. That's really the only thing here worth touching. Maybe using it as a parlay booster. The rest of it, it's just too lopsided. There's no money to be made on the money lines. So for Fatima Klein versus Victoria Dudikova, we'll also take the over 2.5. Okay, this one's a little bit more interesting. So we have Magomed Godzilla versus Bruno Lopez. So Bruno Lopez, massive, massive power in his hands, has shown a lot of weaknesses for takedown defense and his wrestling. It's just not great. He's kind of a sloppy striker, not very accurate, but like I said, he hits very hard. He tries to make the fight messy. On the other side, Godzilla's a lot more calculated, very, very strong grappler. I've had my coffee today. Very strong grappler, very good significant strike accuracy. Doesn't quite have the same power as Lopez, but he does have a little bit better technical boxing, in my opinion. I like him to get this done. I think it'll likely be a decision. The money line on him by decision right now is sitting at a plus 225. Although Vegas seems to think there's an equal chance of a knockout or a decision for Godzilla, there's definitely a very real chance he gets it done by ground and pound on the ground. I just think Bruno Lopez will have adequate enough jiu-jitsu at least to be able to protect himself from getting finished. So that being said, Magma Godzilla, the picks here are going to be money line, and I would say use that as a parlay booster, or maybe pair it with one of those over 2.5s. You'll probably get pretty close to 1-1 odds. Or if you want to risk it for the biscuit, let's say the official pick is Godzilla by decision plus 225 on DraftKings. Looks like it's about plus 210 over here. All right, next one up. Okay, so we have Ernesta. Oh wow, I'm about to pull an Apollo here. Caracati versus Nicole Cagliari, and I'm not as familiar with Ernesta Caracari as I'm with Nicole Cagliari, but I am not super impressed with Nicole Cagliari. She has not looked too good in her last couple of outings. She just, I can't even figure out what her strengths are. Her striking volume was very low in her last fight. She gave up a lot of ground control time. Uh, I mean, I would say probably the best value here is to take Ernesta by decision. It's at about pick 'em money right now. I think there's an extremely strong chance of that happening. Um, or if you want a parlay booster, again, common theme on this one, but the over 2.5 for this fight's at about a minus 250 on DraftKings, and that's a pretty solid line as well. Although I think I'm going to ride the minus 130 decision. I think that's the best available bet for this fight here. Now we get to some of the more fun ones. I'm not super excited about these first four, except maybe the Bruno Lopez fight. But this is the guy we spoke about earlier in the show. This is Jacoby Smith. I am extremely hyped on this guy. I think he's the best prospect in the UFC since Bo Nickel and Khamzat Chimaev. Incredibly decorated college wrestler. Very, very good striking abilities too. He's put a lot of time into his striking. He's 9-0 in MMA. He didn't lose a single second of his Dana White Contender Series fight. Literally not a single second of that fight. Pretty much the majority of the fight, he was in a domineering top position, either half guard, mount, side control, just landing vicious ground and pound. This guy's a go-getter. He's a freak athlete. He hits like hell, and he's got a dog in him. He's super aggressive. Preston Parsons, on the other hand, decent fighter, pretty tough also, pretty aggressive, a little bit more sloppy, likes to brawl, likes to push guys against the cage, doesn't quite put out the same amount of volume. Um, and I don't think he'll have the grappling to be able to keep up with Smith over here. So we're just going to say Smith is the easy pick here. Holy cow. I got him at minus 300. I'm looking on DraftKings now. He's all the way up to a minus 600. The over 1.5 is at minus 215. I actually think that's not too bad because Preston Parsons is pretty durable. But I like Jacoby Smith by KO at minus 110. I really like that line. Decision plus 180 is also a decent bet if you're feeling that more. But that minus 110 is really speaking to me after watching his Dana White Contender Series and seeing how aggressively he pursues the ground and pound. Um, I'm going to take that KO at minus 110. I quite like that. All right. Next
What?
one is one of my big underdog picks, and the line is moving rapidly in his favor. So you better get this while you can. Thiago
Once,
Moises versus Trey Ogden. What's
bro.
up?
1 second though. Did you notice they turned all of these off already?
I heard my picks.
All right, I'm out of here. I just
I
had
don't
to
want
say
the
that was
people to make
crazy.
money. All right. So we got Thiago Moises and Trey Ogden. And Thiago Moises, if you guys remember, not too long ago, a couple of years ago, actually gave Islam a pretty difficult fight. But since then, he's just looked very lackluster. Um, he got his brains battered by BSD, and he just hasn't been the same since. Trey Ogden, on the other hand, has been on a hot streak. He has very, very impressive top control. I mean, when this guy gets on you, you're not going anywhere. He just smother f's the hell out of guys. He's going to be coming in the bigger fighter, the stronger fighter, the fighter who is, even though older, has probably taken less damage between the two. And I actually think he's a better striker as well. So I'm going to rock with him as the underdog. The money line bet's easy. That's plus 145. Ogden by decision is my most likely outcome. That's at plus 240. I would say put a solid unit on the money line and put a sprinkle on Ogden by decision because there's a very high likelihood that if he wins, it will be a decision. He's not an aggressive finisher. He's a very conservative fighter. He likes to guarantee himself the win. Okay, next one. Let's go Marco Tulio Silva versus Ihor Porteria. This is a very, very interesting one. Marco Tulio, he's coming in here. He hasn't had a loss in literally years. I think he's 12-1 in his career. And let me just double check here. His last loss was 7 fights ago. So he's coming in hot. He's coming off the Contender Series. Ihor Porteria has had a lot of ups and downs. He gave us probably what would have been a fight of the year contender if anybody actually watched it and it wasn't on the early prelims against Rodolfo Vieira last year, and then immediately went to get choked out by Michel Becerra in like a minute, backflip, guard passed, and then guillotine choked on the feet. So Io Patera's all over the place, you know. He'll go out, he'll beat OSP as an underdog, and then he'll get knocked out in his next fight. You never know which Ihor Potieria you're going to get. As far as what the potential is for Ihor Potieria, yeah, he's very, very fast. He can hit very hard. He's skilled. He's durable. He's shown us a lot of good things. I just think against Tulio, he's going to be a little outgunned on the feet over here. Um, he may have a speed advantage, possibly, but the power coming back from Tulio, I just don't see this going Potiera's way. Tulio's got the kind of power that makes you change your mind about your career. So I'm going to rock with Marco Tulio here. I think he has a strong, strong chance to get this one done. Money line's not really worth much. I don't really want to touch the over 1.5 because of that power. I think the only bet that's really worth touching here is Marco Tulio Silva minus 165 for the knockout. And Poteria's been chinned a lot lately. I mean, that chin goes. Chins don't recover and chins don't get better over time. So let's take Tulio Silva for a knockout. And let's hope he can get it done. Okay. Next one. We talked about this one on the show already. Johnson versus Bunez. Johnson's at a minus 175 right now on the money line. Decision is at a plus 175. I'm just going to simply say put a unit on the money line, put a sprinkle on the decision for Jose Johnson. Jose Johnson. I'm sorry I'm saying it funny. All right. Now we get to the main card. Punale Soriano versus Euros Medic. I hate Euros Medic because he knocked out my teammate, but goddamn, I respect him. He's an incredible kickboxer. He has amazing striking. He's very, very quick, and he can put your lights out real fast. Soriano's a little bit more well-rounded. He's going to probably come in the smaller fighter. He definitely has a better grappling base, a little bit better wrestling. We have seen Medic improve his wrestling since getting smothered by Mike Tech Orlobi, but I don't think it'll be quite to the level of Soriano's. So this fight will come down to, will it play out on the feet or will Soriano be able to get it to the ground, in my opinion. I do think even if it plays out on the feet, Soriano's a pretty durable guy. So I'm not going to pick a winner in this fight, but I am going to take the over 1.5, which is sitting at a minus 150 right now on DraftKings. I think that's a pretty decent line for the chances this goes over, because if Soriano implements his game plan, he'll log a lot of ground control time, and even if he doesn't, he does have a hell of a chin on him. So I think Euros Medic does have a chance to finish him later in the fight, but he's going to be hard-pressed to finish him early. Not that it's impossible. He does have first-round knockouts, but it's not very likely as far as I'm concerned. Next fight we've already spoken about in detail as well, Christian Rodriguez versus Austin Bashi. Austin Bashi, incredible fighter, young prospect coming off a Dana White Contender Series, 13-0. Christian Rodriguez, he is the hype killer. He likes to miss weight and beat undefeated fighters. So we jokingly said before, watch the scales, but we'll give you the real bets now. I like Austin Bashi at minus 250. I think that's a very generous line. I know it's the ESPN bet has it at minus 265. Okay, same thing. I really think he's going to be a very tough test for Rodriguez. Rodriguez was the bigger fighter, especially due to missing weight against Simon Rosas. But Bashi's like a little bodybuilder. I don't think Rodriguez is going to be able to bully him with size. Another thing that Rodriguez was able to take advantage of in both of those other fights was the gas tanks of Rosas and Simon, who were probably used to most of their fights being finished. Bashi, we've seen him go pretty much at least 2 to 2.5 rounds sprinting. Not like this guy went 2 and 2.5 rounds and didn't gas out. In his Dana White Contender Series fight, he literally sprinted through 2 rounds, like full pace. And I don't know if you guys, when the last time you guys have tried to go outside and do sprints is. My fat ass can sprint for 15 seconds, and then I'm completely exhausted like I just ran a marathon. So this dude was literally going balls to the wall, pedal to the metal for 10 minutes straight. I was extremely impressed with his cardio. I think this is going to be a nightmare matchup for Rodriguez. I think Bashi's going to come in the stronger grappler, the stronger striker, and the more well-rounded fighter, and he's younger with better cardio. I think it's going to be a long night for Rodriguez. So we'll rock Bashi, minus 265, and I'm kind of tempted to take Bashi by the finish, since he is going to very aggressively pursue the finish. I don't know if it'll be a KO or a sub, but Bashi by finish is plus 275. So that's gonna be KO or sub. That's gonna be our long shot for the day. Plus 275. Okay. All right. We're going to go through these last couple fights. We got Chris Curtis, Roman Koployev. Don't need to get too deep into this. We spent a lot of time discussing this on the show. Would love to rock with Chris Curtis. I'm not going to. Personally, I love Chris Curtis too much to bet against him, but the smart money here is going to be on Roman Koployev. It's a minus 225 on the money line. That's a great parlay booster. And Roman Koployev by decision, which is probably the most likely outcome of this fight, is at a plus 100. So while I can't partake in this money because of my irrational love of Chris Curtis and Extreme Couture, I hope you guys make some money off of this fight. All right, we got Cesar Almeida versus Abdul Razak Alhassan, and my pick might surprise a lot of people with this. Even though I do think Cesar Almeida is going to win, I'm actually going to take Abdul Razak Alhassan. I really like the plus 205 odds on him. Cesar Almeida will be the better striker in this matchup, but Abdul Razak Alhassan will have a lot of size on him, and he will be looking to use his wrestling advantage. We have seen good jiu-jitsu from Cesar Almeida, but we have seen him struggle to get back onto his feet. If Abdul Razak Alhassan manages to get into a top control position, I do strongly believe he will finish the fight from there. He's shown dominant ground and pound when he's able to acquire that position. And this is somebody who specifically has a weakness in wrestling. Just because of that very specific path to victory that I see, I'm willing to take a risk on a plus 205 money line on Abdul Razak, and a sprinkle, just a little sprinkle on Abdul Razak by a knockout at plus 350. All right, next fight on. Santiago Ponzinibbio is going to fight Carlston Harris. I'm not touching this one with a 40-foot pole. Santiago Ponzinibbio is kind of the same as Ihor. Sometimes he's fantastic. Sometimes he's terrible. Carlston Harris is really good. I think Santiago is the better and more unpredictable fighter. So I'm not even going to touch this fight personally. The one money line I might touch in that fight is the over 2.5, but both of these guys have been chinned before, so if you're going to touch it, that's the one, but it's just too hard to call. And then we're going to go Mackenzie Dern and Amanda Ribas. We got Dern sitting at a plus 160, Ribas at a minus 192 on DraftKings. I really think Ribas will have the tools to get this done. Dern's biggest problem is she has great jiu-jitsu and poor takedowns. She does not have a good ability to get the fights to the ground, and that's been her downfall over and over and over again. Ribas is much more well-rounded. I think she has good enough wrestling and jiu-jitsu that she'll be able to protect herself in those situations, and enough of a striking advantage that when it's on the feet, it's going to be all Ribas all day. Because of that, Ribas minus 192 is a great pick. And then Ribas by decision is sitting at a minus 115. I think there's a very low chance that Ribas finishes her, but minus 115 is a nice boost from minus 192. So I would say Ribas decision minus 115. Lock that shit in. Let me give you guys one or two parlays that I really liked that I logged earlier. So we had the first leg was going to be Fatima Klein versus Victoria Dudakova, and that's the over 2.5. The second leg, you're going to bet Magomed Godzulayev to beat Bruno Lopez on the money line. And then Ernesta Katakari versus Nicole Cagliari. We're going to take Ernesta. We're going to take the fight to go over 2.5. I'm sorry. And that total payout is at plus 153. That's plus money. That's for the first three fights of the night. That's the fight 2, 3, and 4 for the night. So you can start the early prelims off strong. Had Jacoby Smith in my other parlay, but it's almost not even worth it to put him in there. But we're so confident we're going to put him in anyways. And we'll parlay him with Silva and Jose Johnson, and that gives us even money plus 117 odds. And we're going to do we'll do a long shot. This is for the D-Gens out there. This is for the Apollo bettors. Take this instead of your 11-legger. It'll pay much better. Trey Ogden to win by decision. We're going to take Tulio Silva by KO. Soriano versus Medic over 1.5. And Bashi by double chance finish. And that is going to pay us plus 3,117. So $10 will pay out $321. Nice little
Did you
four-leg.
say a lot of money? All I heard was a lot of money. That's
Plus
all I
3,000.
heard.
That'll be our DGen parlay. We got
Woo! I love it.
KO, the over 1.5, and Bashi by KO TKO sub.
Let's fucking go. I love it, man.